Hey guys, Zen here, and recently Ubisoft responded and added context to some of the biggest issues in Rainbow Six Siege. If you're someone who plays on console, there's an update for you. If you're tired of constantly playing on the same maps this season, they've addressed this as well, and we're gonna get through all of it. Also, a surprising rumor has come up for one of the most underutilized operators in Rainbow Six Siege, and it's going to be fascinating to see how it's received. And so yeah, make sure you click that red subscribe button and tap the notification bell. You know what to do. And let's hope this news doesn't blow your hair away. But you know, even if it does, it's a great thing we have Keeps, who've generously sponsored this video and can help keep that luscious mane atop your head. Now, gentlemen, I know some of you may be struggling with the early signs of hair loss. I mean, personally, I've had friends who've dealt with it at this point. But did you know that 2 out of every 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the age of 35? And really, the best way to prevent hair loss is to address it while you still have hair. Now, it can be incredibly confusing and embarrassing to seek out help, but thankfully, Keeps will set you up with a doctor online and get hair loss medication delivered directly to your home. They make it super easy and deliver exactly what you need every 3 months, so you won't need to wait in lines at the pharmacy or deal with awkward doctor's visits. So treatments usually take between 4 to 6 months to start seeing results, and so it's important to start using Keeps sooner rather than later because prevention is key. And so guys, if you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/zen or click the link in the description to receive 50% off your first order. That's keeps.com/zen for half off your first order, and a big thank you to them for supporting the video. So we're gonna start with those on console because it's pretty clear that a large part of the community have been looking for answers, and Ubisoft has basically laid it all out. Consoles have had 2 main concerns for a very long time, and that's mouse and keyboard and DDoSing. Now, the real problem with keyboard and mouse use on console is that it's done by using a special adapter, and the consoles read them just as another controller, and so it's very tough to actually spot using them in game, and it is an unfair tactic. Now, Ubisoft says, we are currently gathering information as well as technical data to gauge how widespread these adapters are and if we can detect them in a reliable manner. So basically, the initial step has to be to actually detect the adapters and then deal with them accordingly. This is honestly going to take an effort from not only the devs of Rainbow Six Siege, but also the manufacturers like Sony and Microsoft, because ultimately these dongles are being used console-wide, even outside of competitive games. Now, something to consider is that the next generation of consoles may be somewhat of a solution to this, because these kinds of adapters simply don't exist yet, and so hopefully as people start migrating over to the next gen, this problem could kind of resolve on its own. The other issue is DDoSing, and it feels like there's periods where it isn't a problem at all, and then periods where it's the biggest problem there is. But here is Ubisoft's response. Just hear this. We're working on mitigation plans with our partners, and we are continuously monitoring the situation. We've also recently started issuing sanctions to users responsible for such attacks. So yeah, pretty much the ongoing plan, and it honestly isn't super fancy, but I think handing out sanctions is a good initial step, because then those players are basically on the radar and can be more closely monitored. Now, I'm gonna be totally real about this. I do think more needs to be done and more can be done to kind of improve Siege on consoles, and I think there's something big on the back end that Ubisoft just hasn't revealed yet. There has been a rumor that the devs are migrating server farms in its entirety, switching from Microsoft Azure to Amazon's cloud servers to host games, which has been said to not only be more consistent, but also far more secure, and an adjustment like that could change everything. Next, they speak on cheating and hacking, and they've added some new features to deal with it. They say, we started using a new identification method and proceeded to issue ban waves based on those results, and in the last month, we've sanctioned around 4,000 players, ranging from blatant cheaters to closet hackers. Now, in the past, we've talked about the actual war that Ubisoft has declared against cheating in Rainbow Six Siege, and the fact that there will basically be no end, but I think things have felt vastly more consistent, especially compared to the early part of this year, and I'm hoping things continue to improve. Really, this is all a part of player behavior, and the one feature that hasn't been released yet is the upcoming reputation system, and I think from mouse and keyboard use on console to a closet hacker that just hasn't been caught yet, it's a system that'll help to identify the players that could be causing some of this. The last piece here are the map bans, and I think as a whole, we've all experienced constantly playing on the same like 5 or 6 maps because the rest are just always banned. So for Year 5 Season 3, they're going to be delivering a fix to even the odds of certain maps appearing, and so you may see a pool of Bank, Outback, and Chalet instead of Oregon, Cafe, and Canal, which will make it so that more of a variety of maps will be experienced. Altogether, I think at the very least, the devs understand that there are problems in Rainbow Six Siege, and they've kind of always been upfront about that, and so for me, it's just about how effectively these things are addressed. Moving on, guys, we can take a look at the latest pick, ban, and win rates for the season, and honestly, they're very interesting. Starting off with the defenders, and I think the most obvious sight here is that Tachanka, pre-rework, is one of the highest winning operators in Rainbow Six Siege. The funny thing is that for me, I've noticed some new Tachanka strats popping up that have actually worked. For example, in the basement of Oregon, if you place a Tachanka turret in the laundry box and knock out freezer wall, you can hold down anyone that enters the freezer if you're protected by a deployable shield. Now, depending on who you are, the rework to him may or may not be a highlight coming soon here, but I'm excited to see how he'll fare the next time we see these graphs. Jaeger is last here for defense, and man, we just cannot keep this man on the chart. Losing the ACOG, the introduction of Wamai, and even dropping him down to a 2-speed operator just doesn't phase his presence, and I don't know if there's really anything else to do with him that'll make him less appealing. My suggestion has always been to boost up Wamai, but even with access to the 1.5 in his loadout, he just can't hold a candle to the power of the ADS paired with the 416. So again, Jaeger is off of the chart. Now moving over to attack, and Ash is still on top, even after the removal of the 2.5 ACOG from her kit. She just doesn't have one anymore, but she's followed up by Zofia and Ace, and I think Zofia is basically a perfect operator. I just don't see any reason to change her, and I think she really does represent balance at its finest with everything that makes up this operator. But Ace, as we've discussed in the past, has completely overthrown every other hard breacher by a country mile, and as a result, his gadget will be getting nerfed. Very soon, his Selma will only detonate twice and won't really be able to open up a full wall anymore, and so the hope is that Thermite can creep back into relevance and serve that purpose of taking down a full wall. And I think that's really the story here with these graphs. Hard breaching operators have been universally shifted since Ace came into the fold, and I don't think just one should ever be the full answer, but with Ace, that's kind of what it's turned into. And if I'm honest, I don't really believe this will change too much even after the nerf. And so the last op to look at is Zero. He's obviously the newest member to the roster, and overall, he's sitting dead center where the two lines meet. There's no denying that Zero is fundamentally a good operator, because look, this is Rainbow Six Siege and intel is crucial, but execution is also key, and I just think that Zero's cams are far too obvious to be taken super serious. Really, he has the same issue as Fuse, where it's just too obvious where the cams are being deployed, which alerts the defenders and puts them on the hunt for them. Even then, once on the hunt, it's extremely easy to spot them because they flash a bright neon green light that's probably one of the most easy to spot gadgets in the game. For me, Zero's cameras need to deploy a little quieter, but also once they are deployed, the light should work a little more like Valk's and emit a light green glow instead of blinking like they do now. Now, guys, we're gonna head into rumor territory and quickly speak on Warden. So this isn't confirmed, so take it with a grain of salt. And also, the sources are kind of all over the place, but the rumor is that Warden will be getting the Alda in a future update. And when I first heard this, my eyes lit up. That's it, right? Like that's got to be the perfect buff to him that'll bring him up into the meta, because since the beginning, a big issue the community have had with this operator is the fact that the MPX is his main SMG. The Alda is clearly one of the best weapons on defense and possibly the best LMG in all of Rainbow Six Siege, and I could see Warden making excellent use of it. His gadget isn't super strong as of right now. I think it is still considered a little underwhelming, and very soon, Glaz is going to be very close to how he was when he was super overpowered. And so giving Warden a strong weapon like the Alda could be a legitimate answer to that. Honestly, guys, it makes perfect sense to me, and I am a little uneasy about potentially facing off against two defenders with the LMG, but Warden could use this weapon, maybe even more so than Maestro, and so, yeah, this has me very intrigued. Again, this amounts to nothing more than a rumor, and Warden may always be paired with the MPX, but hopefully a change like this could at the very least be tested for this operator. I love it. Lastly here, guys, the ban rates, and well, nothing special. Thatcher and Monty lead attack, while Mira tops defense, followed up almost equally with Echo and Malusi. I am interested to see how much the MP5 affects Malusi, but other than that, it's all pretty standard here. And with that, we'll be at the conclusion to this video. Guys, 400K is the next milestone, and we're tiptoeing closer and closer, and so subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Drop a like on the video, and I'll see you guys very soon for the next one. It's been Zen. Hey, I'm out.